welcome back to the channel.
Oh no, start over again.
Nope.
I gotta look at the screen. The circle. Look at the circle. Okay.
Welcome back to the channel. It's been about a month since we put out a video, and we wanted to give you guys an update of everything we've been up to in the last month, from dealing with humidity issues,
Spider mites.
yeah, insects, problems with insects. Just basically, we've been trying to recreate Mother Nature, and Mother Nature is a beast.
Yes, she is.
Right? So she knows what she's doing, and we are having our challenges.
We're trying to mess with Mother Nature. Yeah. Not only that, but we live in an area where we knew going into this that we weren't going to have a lot of sunny days at this time of the year. But this year in particular, we've had unseasonably warm weather, which means way more cloud cover. We haven't seen the sun. We've seen the sun one day in the last 3.5 weeks.
Yes.
So that meant that we had to make some adjustments inside of the greenhouse to keep things alive.
Mm-hmm. On top of that as well, we are still under construction somewhat. So there's some things that I've been working on to just finish in the greenhouse, both for functionality and aesthetics. Mm-hmm. Functionality is sealing up the windows. We've added an additional layer for insulating the windows. So we'll go over that in a little more detail, and as well as creating our chill space, which has a really good vibe now. Mm-hmm. So we've done some work in there.
We're going to show you. Yeah, we're going to
have to stay tuned for those things.
Yes, we're going to show you the chill space. We are really excited. James had the most amazing idea for flooring in there, which goes so perfectly in here. So we have definitely been keeping ourselves busy. As far as growing in the greenhouse, we are struggling with new growth. Everything that I had put in here that you saw in the last video is surviving, not necessarily thriving. There are a few things that are thriving, but we are definitely dealing with a spider mite, powdery mildew, and potentially thrip infestation in here. So I'm going to go over what we did, what we're doing, and what we will have to continue to do to mitigate that problem. So the first thing that was happening with the no sun problem was all of the seeds that I had planted in the ground, this is all arugula, were growing but becoming extremely leggy. And what leggy means is that they grow really, really tall, really fast to reach towards light, which they're hoping to get. And because we haven't had any sun coming through our polycarbonate, we do have the grow lights within the beams, but they're really high up. So that brought my attention to the fact that we needed, we potentially needed some light that was closer to the plants. So much to James's dismay, I convinced him to hang up some of my seedling grow lights along this bed to bring the light closer down towards the plants. So we picked up this tension cable for the purpose of stringing up our tomato plants in here, but we ended up putting it up a little bit earlier because it was the perfect thing to hang the grow lights on. And so we did that. We've got grow lights all the way along, and I'm very happy to report that things are looking a lot better in here. Some of my new seedling starts that I had started in grow domes are in here, and they're doing way better than some that are behind me that are not under any supplemental light. So this is just something that we are obviously going to have to do. It would be nice to have more lights or a different light setup, but this is what we had on hand. So this is what we're going to do, and it's better than nothing. In the last video, I talked about the fact that we had some spider mites on our pepper plants. And I was treating the spider mites by just wetting down the leaves of the pepper plants every day. But unfortunately, that really got away from me. I ended up having to take out all the pepper plants from the greenhouse because they were the biggest hosts of the spider mites. But then upon further investigation, I discovered that it had spread completely through the greenhouse. So I had them on almost all of my plants. Some of the ones that were saved from it were my tomatoes. Some of our trees and palms were fine, but pretty much everything else was completely infested with the spider mites, including my seedlings in my grow dome, which really surprised me. I must have had some eggs or something on my sleeve of my clothes and then went into the grow dome. So that was really sad. I would like to thank viewers who commented. Let me know about predatory mites and specifically Coppert Canada. So I contacted them and they were very helpful, and we were able to get sachets of the Spictal Ultimite, I believe it's called, specifically for spider mites. I received the package straight to our door within, I think it was 2 weeks. And I got about 100 sachets. It wasn't too expensive considering the alternative would have been my greenhouse completely being decimated. Hung them on all of the plants, even the ones that weren't affected, and it seems to be doing the trick. I have a magnifying glass that I go around and check all the plants with, and that's actually how I discovered how infested we were. And yeah, it's definitely making a difference. So if you are somebody that doesn't want to use toxic chemical sprays to get rid of pests in your greenhouse or your garden, predatory mites are a really, really good option. I highly recommend them.
Morning.
Morning. What do you got going on here?
Just trying to finish off sealing the windows because we never got to that part. So we got a little bit of hoarding up.
Before it snowed.
Well, snowing. Snowed yesterday.
Okay, let's go and show.
Look at that satellite. See it?
Yeah, that could be a plane too.
No way. It's too fast. It's an alien. Apparently they're real. That's what they're saying.
Aliens.
You want to come in?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know if you could see on the windows what we could see inside, but can you see through to the other windows where they're all humid?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So we can see through this window, but so there's two reasons we've hoarded this in. One is to just add heat to dry these windows out because I didn't fully seal around the edges. So we can get in here, let's see. See there? Sort of? So where I had shims, there is some silicone there, but not here. So that's where I had the shims.
Mm-hmm.
So the water would be coming out there, and then also we wanted the round earth to dry off because all that humidity on the inside was coming down the inside face of the window and then out onto the sill.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually worked really nicely overnight. These are set at like 10 degrees Celsius, which is 50 Fahrenheit, I think.
And what do you have here? These are, let's show the one that's going.
Oh, yeah.
Got diesel heaters. Diesel heaters went all night long. Okay.
Oh, I got a bit of humidity on this window still. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Very little though. I guess I could turn up the heat now. Good too. This one doesn't have any. A little bit.
All right, so we are really close to getting down to crazy cold temperatures.
Yeah, this tonight.
What is the temperature right now?
It's really nice. It's like 2 -2 Fahrenheit or Celsius. So that's like around 30, 40 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. And tonight we're going down to -16.
Which I don't know what that is. Let's go inside, it'll be easier to show that.
Come on up.
What will do? So yeah, you can see those windows are nice and clear. But so what we've done by adding those tarps temporarily is change the condensation point or the dew point. Whereas this window, right to your left, you can see like literally
Yeah.
all that humidity, right?
That's what all the windows were looking like before. So not only are we going to seal the windows, but it's going to keep that cold from coming in.
Two things we have to do. The two things we're going to do is we're going to, by sealing the window up from the outside, we're going to stop the cold air from moving through into the greenhouse, into the warm side. And then we're going to put, for now, we're going to try this, it's like a plastic film that you put around the opening, and then you use a blow dryer, and it's supposed to look clear. But by putting that on, we're going to create an air gap and try to change the condensation point. And hopefully that stops the humidity from building up on the windows. Because two things that's going to do, if we don't address that, is it's probably going to eventually rot out the wood that we put in place. It blocks our view to look outside or inside from outside because it's completely fogged up. So when it's cold, and it's really nice to look inside to this space and see all the green when it's not summer outside. That was one of our goals in making this space, right, Beth?
Mm-hmm.
Having something alive in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So it just seems to be that every day our priorities change a little bit based on the weather and based on new ideas, based on what Michelle sees herself using the space for. Because we've been spending quite a bit of time in here, 5 hours a day, at least, which is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still plugging away, and Michelle's been gardening, and we've been encountering some new challenges with gardening, more so Michelle. But at some point, eventually, I'm hoping to learn a little bit more about gardening instead of the construction end of things.
So one of the main reasons we built this greenhouse in the first place is because we did know that during these months we suffer from no sun. And that can be really hard on us and most people. So that was a big factor in why we built this greenhouse in the first place, was to come into a space where things are living and it's comfortable and there's a lot of natural light, and we've definitely achieved that. So this seedling tray is sort of my last one that hasn't been completely obliterated by mites. This is mini cucumbers, obviously that I started from seed. And I just had a look with my magnifying glass and they look completely pest free. However, over here I have actually what looks to be a weed in some of my onion starts, and I'm having a peek at it and it's completely covered in thrips. So I have put in an order with Copert to get some predatory mites for the thrips, because they can be quite devastating in the greenhouse as well. From what I've read and watched online, is that thrips in particular, they are asexual, so they don't need a partner to multiply. So even if you just have one, within 24 hours, you could potentially have 100 eggs. So good to keep on top of those things. If you don't know what thrips are, just Google search them. They're pretty easy to spot. They also fly around the greenhouse, so they'll spread things from plant to plant. For example, powdery mildew, which is another bad one. But anyway, I am going to plant out these beautiful cucumbers that I have here, and I'm going to show you what I've been amending my soil with just to keep the plants as healthy as possible. If your plants are healthy, they're less likely to have diseases or pests. I do have to say that despite everything that's happening, I never thought that I would be barefoot in the garden in December. So super grateful for that. All right, so here are my awesome cucumber starts with a very good root structure on there. And something about transplanting cucumbers is that they don't like the roots to be disturbed too much. So I think there's 4 in this one. They're all kind of different. This one, there's 4 as well. This one, there's only 1. So I think I'm just going to break this one in half this way so that when they grow big, they're not going to be too crowded. So I'm going to break it into, yeah, they don't like to have their roots disturbed. So hopefully this works. Hi, Ned's back. So there's 3 things that I'm adding to my soil to help the plants grow in these conditions. Number 1 is vermiculite. Number 2 is organic worm castings. And number 3 is biochar. So I'm not going to get into great detail about those 3 things. I am going to put a little information in the description of this video of why those things are good, and maybe you feel like you want to add those to your soil as well. I have added, for example, the biochar specifically, I did to some seedlings over there just to kind of test it out, and they are well outperforming anything else in here. So everything that I plant now, I add those 3 things to it. So, and yeah, James did this awesome trellis thing for me. These are cucumbers. You can see them? Yeah. That I had started inside well before we planted out here in the greenhouse. And they've been living in little tiny pots like this for months. So I finally got them planted out, and they're doing really well. There's even a cucumber on here, right down here, and another one that I have already harvested. So I'm just going to add these along behind the couch because James is he just needs some more 9-footers to build me the rest of this wall. So yeah, that's it.
It's such a pretty girl, Chucha, with the toe beans. You're gonna get your toe beans on the face. I like it, Chucha. You're so sweet. What a sweet little kitty cat. Keep purring. Do you like this place like that? Yeah, she hasn't really seen the furniture, hey?
No.
It's quite interesting because they smell all these smells from somewhere else that they've never smelled before.
Yeah.
What the Jojo, she came in and she's like,
Yeah.
deep sniff on the couch. There must have been some sort of pet there.
We'll tell everybody where we got the furniture.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. We've been pretty savvy in a lot of ways to find things on like Facebook Marketplace for next to nothing for cost, I guess. Like the overhead door was $300. The garden doors were $300. We got this couch set for $150, and this really, really amazing fireplace, which is going to be the next project, for $100. So, and then this cookie floor, I actually was able to get all the wood for free just by going to pick it up because it was a large tree that somebody wanted to have fell on their property because it was very large and it was, I guess, in danger of failing. Anyways, they had it fell and they needed it gone. So instead of it going to the landfill, I just went and picked it up. So it just took my time to go and get the tree. I was going to use the tree for milling. However, the heart, which is the center of the tree, was too big because of basically like heavy winds. And it wasn't ideal for milling. However, it turns out I think it's great for cookies, for the cookie floor. So this idea kind of came in a couple different ways. Originally, we're going to just use the crush, which we have spread out around everywhere. The crush, though, is very dusty, and any kind of movement on it is creating a ton of dust. So we wanted to create a space with no dust, and this is achieving that. So for the construction of the cookie floor, we basically had the crush leveled out, and then I cut all of the cookies to about 2.5, 3 inches. I didn't cut them all at once. I cut a big stack of them up just to see how it would work out and see how it was going to look. So we kind of took it slowly, and then started with the perimeter and worked our way in, trying to fit all the cookies, set them nice and level with the levels.
It was a big puzzle.
Yeah, interesting kind of puzzle to get everything tight. And then most of them came, well, actually all the cookies are from one tree except for the smaller ones. You can actually see a slightly different color to them. So there's pine, and the larger tree is a fir tree. Definitely well over 100-year fir tree. So once we were done setting the height of everything, we also sealed them kind of as we went, just the face because it's end grain. So we used
Sanded and then sealed.
Oh yeah, we did a bunch of sanding. Yeah, a bunch of sanding with the vacuum, just try to keep the dust down even more, because trying to keep the dust off the plants, because the dust isn't healthy for the plants.
Yeah. And then sealing, we did like 6 or 8 cookies at a time, and did 3 coats with about an hour of dry time in between each one. So we just did that like in sections.
Just to try to create a bit of a sheen on them, so if they do get wet
Or dirty.
or if we spill a drink, they can clean up. The idea eventually, after we were done all that, then I went to one of the quarries where we get product for our rammed earth, as well as many other projects that I do for landscaping. And we got some wash rock from the quarry, but it was very dirty. So Michelle had washed a couple buckets worth
Yeah.
of the rocks, and it was about 2.5 hours of her time outside in the winter,
In the cold water, spraying down all of these rocks.
So these are all placed between, just to bring it close to height. So when you walk on it, it actually feels very nice.
It does.
And it's we're saying it does something to your brain when you look at the floor. It's another element of relaxation, like kind of tranquil when you come in.
Yeah, and earthy.
Yeah, all the natural elements.
Yeah. I know a lot of you are probably thinking to yourself, this would look really cool epoxied, and we agree. However, the wood needs to cure, stabilize, acclimatize, and we're worried that if we were to pour epoxy on this floor right now, some of the wood would warp and move. So we're gonna wait, see how everything settles, and see how it wears. Like if we feel like we really think that it would be smart to put an epoxy so that it's really easy to clean, then we can visit that when the time comes. But
it is just a greenhouse, but it's more than a greenhouse. So
much more than a greenhouse.
Yeah.
I think the sun might be coming out for 4 seconds today.
Yeah, so this was actually much more time consuming than I want to admit. But yeah, it did take a long time.
About 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, not full time. James has got a
Yeah.
lot of other things going on right now, but yeah, it took a lot of time. It was very tedious.
It was just getting everything set and level, and I mean and then so I would get so far, then I would have to go. I think I went through 5 tanks of fuel just in the chainsaw, and it was like I have a 2-foot bar on the chainsaw, and that was really like making it work as hard as it could to get through.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. So, and the reason for making it stabilize again is that tree fell last summer, so 5-6 months ago. Once you cut into it, it's still quite green, and there's like it's wet, right? So these are still drying out
Yeah.
in place.
Yeah. Yeah. When he was bringing in the stacks of cookies, you could smell, like you could feel the wood was wet, and it just made the entire greenhouse smell like wood. But
It was nice.
it was.
Yeah.
So once we finally got that completed and
Sure.
we were happy with everything, we moved in our $150 Facebook Marketplace, super cool vintage couch set, which I can't believe we got because it almost matches the one that I was passed down to. My grandma had a very similar set to this that we have inside of our house that I was trying to convince James to move in here, but he said absolutely not. But when I found this one, which was almost identical for $150, we jumped on it and we think it looks pretty cool. It's super comfortable.
Bob loves it.
Bob loves it. Oh, sorry, Bob. Bob loves it.
It is sunny.
I know. I know.
Cool. There's
For like
sun
4
on it.
seconds. Yeah, so I guess next steps, like James said, is our
Let's show that. Let's show the
fireplace. I will, yeah. Our amazing fireplace, that's gonna feel really nice in here, especially this time of the year. James put in, if you remember in the last video, I talked about the mid-century modern trellis for my cucumbers. James installed
First bit.
a first bit of that. It's going to go along the back of the couch as well and provide that kind of privacy and living wall separation from chill space to the garden. And yeah, we're just trucking along, praying for sun. Send us sun from wherever you are. We need it. I think it's just going to be a couple more weeks and things are going to start really popping in here and growing. And worst case scenario, we will be way ahead of the game when it comes to spring and summer for growing. I'll be able to do all my tomato and pepper starts way earlier than I would if I had to wait till the end of May to plant out in my garden. There's a lot of positives. So
We might try amping up the lights for a couple months with a different product, but we'll see.
yeah, we're talking to AC Infinity Company, trying to do a partnership with them because they have the grow lights that would work perfectly in here. They're like 5 foot by 5 foot, and we could put them all along the beds. So we're trying to work things out. If you know anybody that works there, put in a good word for us. But yeah, we have a lot of AC Infinity products and we love them. So yeah, I guess we will catch you on the next video.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.